We usually think of hawthorn in spring when it's covered in white or pink blossoms with bees merrily buzzing around it. But in folklore, the hawthorn, also known as quickthorn, whitethorn, thornapple or maytree, is perhaps more significant in winter. When the branches are bare, you can see its twisted, angular shape more clearly. It can even look like a human reaching out for something. It is known as a threshold tree because in the winter, when the veil between realms is thinner, it stands as a boundary marker between life and death, growth and stillness. At twilight hour, the fairies pass between our world and theirs, and the hawthorn marks as their door. It has always been considered one of the most magical trees in Britain, and one on its own is called a fairy tree. In County Clare, there is a story of a farmer who owned a field with a hawthorn tree right in its centre. His neighbours warned him to leave it alone, but he wanted to be able to plough right through the field when spring came. When he tried to cut down the tree, the blade of the axe split in two, so he went and fetched another one. This time, when he lifted it to strike, the birds fell silent and the wind dropped. And when the blade touched the bark, a thorn drove deep into his hand, even though he claimed he had never touched a hawthorn branch. By nightfall, his cattle were restless, and within a few days one went lame and another became ill. The farmer returned to the hawthorn tree, now fearful of it, and left an offering of bread and milk at its roots, begging for forgiveness and promising to leave the tree alone. The tree still stands, and locals will not go near it at dusk. Even very recently, when constructing roads in Ireland, they have been rerouted to avoid destroying a lone hawthorn tree. In the Scottish borders, there's a tale of a travelling merchant who lost his way one winter evening. The sun had set and the frost had settled, and he found himself near an ancient burial mound with a hawthorn growing next to it. He was tired, so he sat down beneath the tree. He later said he heard music, faint pipes and distant laughter, although there was no house for miles. Later, when he woke, confused and shaking, he made his way to the nearest town. He was told his horse had been found 3 days earlier and he had been missing all that time, though to him he had only had a short nap. This is similar to another folktale in the Scottish borders. Thomas Rymer, a 13th century poet, was walking near a hawthorn when he met the Queen of Elfland and followed her. Although he'd felt like he'd only briefly visited the fairy realm, when he returned, he found 7 years had passed, and that the Queen had given him the gift of prophecy. There is another legend about a hawthorn. This one took place in the hills behind me, just up there. It might even be that hill you can see just in the distance there in Somerset. After Jesus' crucifixion, Joseph of Arimathea visited Glastonbury and set down his staff on Wiriel Hill. The first miracle is that the staff took root and blossomed into a hawthorn tree, and the second is that it bloomed twice a year, once in spring as usual and once also at Christmas. Through cuttings, descendants of that tree still grow in Glastonbury, and a branch in bud is sent to the monarch every year at Christmas. More commonly in winter, the red berries still cling to the branches of the hawthorn tree and were considered to be protective. Hawthorn branches were hung in barns over winter to protect the livestock against evil spirits and illness. The hawthorn spikes were used in charms of protection as they could symbolically pierce through misfortune. There's actually a lot of contradiction around the hawthorn. For example, it was bad luck to bring its blossom into the house. But tales of hawthorn in spring are stories for another day. I hope you've enjoyed listening to some folklore surrounding hawthorn trees in winter. If you're new here, please subscribe and have a look around my other videos. You may particularly like this one, all about fairy mushroom rings. And if you enjoyed this one, please hit the hype button, and I will see you again very soon. Do take care. Bye.